Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Tanya Tomasevich, and I am doing another live from my group, Intuitive Minds Already Know. So, let's see, got like a minute, so I'm just going to wait for a couple people to get on here. Oh, okay, I don't want to broadcast anybody. Okay, hello, Shelby. Hope everybody's home safe tonight, because it is going to be treacherous. I'm assuming in the morning. I'd be surprised if there was actually school tomorrow. All right, it's 8 o'clock, coming at you live from my craft room. Second broadcast of my group called Intuitive Minds Already Know. If you tuned in last week, thank you. I appreciate that. If you're tuning in for the first time tonight, thank you as well. Tonight's topic is law of attraction and power of positivity. They kind of go hand in hand, in my opinion. I have some things lined up, some notes, and I hope that I stay on task. But if you know me, shiny squirrels come into my life very often. So I will try to keep this at least to 20 to 30 minutes, all right? So right off the bat, I am going to be reading some excerpts out of the book that I got. I think it's backwards to me, maybe not to you, but it's called Awaken, Bridging the Gap Between Your Inner and Outer Worlds, and it's written by Lona Cook and Lisa Fallon. And I got this the very first event that I went to. I thought I was going to a meditation class, but I did not. So this was the book that was given out. So I have some excerpts that I will be reading from tonight to keep me on task, as well as my own opinions. So right off the bat, I'm going to give you the definition, and this is from Wikipedia. So, you know, that's a reputable resource, but it is what it is. So in the New Thought spiritual movement, the law of attraction is a pseudoscience. I had to look it up. You can too. Based on the belief that positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences into a person's life. The belief is based on the ideas that people and their thoughts are made from pure energy, and that a process of like energy attracting like energy exists through which a person can improve their health, wealth, and personal relationships. So that's Wikipedia's definition. To me, the law of attraction means to me, and it kind of goes with the power of positivity. So if you try to lead a positive, shifted lifestyle and try not to practice judgment or blame or self-blame or self-doubt or any negative feedback or comments, and it's really hard. It was really one of the hardest struggles that I still struggle with in my life. But when I first started, this was a key practice. This was a key principle in a spiritual lifestyle if you choose to go down that path. And it's not just a spiritual, I was corrected. It's not just for a spiritual lifestyle. It's for any lifestyle, because it truly does take a lot of the weight off your shoulders, and it just gives you like when you're in doubt of how to think about something or how to react or how to feel, always go back to this power of positivity, because it is life changing. So what it means for me is just shifting those negative thoughts into something positive, because negative thoughts really don't serve you. We are all connected to the universe and each other, and we are all here for a purpose. So, like when you think and act positively, it is what I consider like intoxicating. It's infectious, and you will attract people that practice the same. And you'll know this if you really get into practicing it, is that it'll push the negative people, the negative Nellies aside, and you'll notice that those types of people, hello Kelly, thanks for watching, you'll notice that those types of people just kind of scurry and kind of scamper out of your circle because they, number one, they probably don't get it, and they probably don't practice, and they probably don't choose to really want to understand why you are so positive and why it's just so easy for you to be positive. And that could be, hang on a second, dog wants in. Come on, get in here. Gotta be where mama is. Whoops. So they don't always understand, and they might say that, oh, your positive attitude is kind of annoying or whatever. But those people are not in, they have no purpose to be in your circle. So another thing, thoughts become feelings. Feelings become actions, and actions become your reality. I'm sure you've all heard this or seen it on things on Pinterest or Hobby Lobby, but it is true. It is true. And really, when I first heard there are no coincidences, I was like, okay, that's not true, because there are really a lot of coincidences. But then as I got practicing into this lifestyle, I realized that I shouldn't be using that word, because there are now today, in my state of mind today, and in my practice, I truly believe that there are no coincidences. Everything that we do and every experience that happens to us is basically the law of attraction. It is fate. Things happen in your life that really won't resonate, and maybe until like months down the line or years down the line. There's been a couple of situations of mine where, and I have been journaling a lot of my readings and a lot of my meditations, and just so I can dial back and actually see, that did happen, and I had that as a vision or a message or a thought, and now it's actually coming into full circle in the future. So that's why journaling is really important, because we can't remember everything, and it's very helpful for me. You can create your own fate if you let's see. There is ways to do like a life path or like a life map. I've been to events that actually do that, and you basically kind of put down goals and dial in what it actually takes. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice to get to that goal? What does it actually take physically, financially, emotionally, geographically to get to that goal? And it really helps. So if you've ever not done a life map or a goal map, Google it. There's many different platforms to do that. There's events, there's classes, and you can just draw them out on a piece of paper if you don't want to spend any money or want to do any fancy classes. But they are a way to connect, and it is a really good time, and it's a good practice. Another thing to help you stay on task with the power of positivity and what you want to attract is cultivate your self-awareness. We talked a little bit about self-awareness in the intuition, when I talked about intuition last week. So cultivating your self-awareness is just basically being in your moment, being in that moment, and paying attention to how you feel, how your thoughts make you feel, and how your feelings make you think, and vice versa. And just be aware. Checking in on yourself is very, very, very important. It gives you a chance to dial in on, hey, this has been bothering me for, 3-4 days. What should I do about it? Should I talk about it with someone? Should I journal about it? Should I meditate on it? Should I talk to this person about it? And vice versa. And once you start dealing with your own shit, I had that like on page 3, but we'll jump around. Once you start dealing with your own shit, it makes it easier to deal with other people's shit that also affects your life. When you are positive, you attract positive people, and this is a testimony for me. Once you start practicing a daily positivity, daily affirmations, you come into contact from the law of attraction with people like-minded like you, and you make connections, and sometimes you will have different conversations with a person that you've known, or they're a social acquaintance, and you're like, I never really knew about that. I never really knew you were into that, or, oh. And so new connections are wonderful, especially with people that you thought you knew. And that's exciting. That is really an exciting piece of life, because we thought we knew them and we weren't really friends, but now we have this other connection and this maybe something in common. So that's fun. I'm going to read something out of the book. I have my notes here. Your energy, your actions and reactions, your thoughts and words, everything has an energetic vibration. We talked about intuition on my live last week, and I said that as a young child, a young person, I could walk into a room and be able to pinpoint what groups or what types of people that I felt I should steer clear from. And that is my vibration, my positive vibration, bouncing off of the other vibrations in the room from other people. And that is a self-awareness thing too. So pay attention to that when you walk into a room or into a group of people, and just kind of like, just pause and maybe just sit at your chair and just kind of feel people out before you actually start interacting. And as you do that, and as you practice that, it will make more sense of the physical feeling and just that intuition that I'm talking about right now. Living in alignment with your potential. Let's talk about that. So living in alignment with your potential. What that means to me is getting rid of all the self-doubt. And that's hard. That's hard. That's kind of what I'm dealing with now in my journey, is just putting all that self-doubt behind me. And when you live in alignment with your potential, you are accepting yourself for who you are. You accept your flaws, you accept your strengths, and you accept no judgment, and you accept no judgment from outer, society, or from friends, or from family, or from Facebook, or what you read, or what you see on the news. Really, really living within yourself. That's what living in alignment with your potential is, because we all have potential, no matter what anybody says. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for watching. So having to get into alignment means you have to do the work that needs to be done to keep you on the path you choose to be fulfilled, to have a fulfilling life. Now, I think I mentioned it last week in my live, that this, for me, this type of lifestyle for me, the spiritual lifestyle, and whatever faith you choose to follow, it's not easy. It's not easy. There are things that I am dealing with that I thought that I had dealt with many years ago. And as we open up, and as we accept, and as we are more self-aware, and as we surrender, and we truly, truly, truly want to get inside ourselves and to really love ourselves first, you actually start to deal with some of that stuff that you thought you dealt with. Because when I say I thought I dealt with it, I really was just hiding it away and storing it. It was still inside us. It still had little critters and crawling around and affecting you, but we just put it away and we ignored it. And I'm no longer able to ignore those things, because I choose to live a better lifestyle. The next thing I have on here is patterns of fear. And patterns of fear, I think, really, really hold us back at living in alignment with our potential. Having a fear is truly, truly difficult to break free of. We all have them. I still have them. I still have, struggles. But number one, to admit that we have fears and to admit what they are, and then start actually trying to cope with them and dealing with them. I think as women, and not just as women, but I feel this is more of a statistic, a more common thing in women, is we create scenarios in our head, stories in our head. And I know I had to break free of this because it was creating bad relationships in my life. And I would create this, I had this feeling, and I'm like, well, I can't talk about it because if I do, this person's going to feel this way, and this person's going to react this way, and then I'm going to be sad or mad, and so I just won't talk about it. I just won't talk about it. So we create this story, this scenario in our head, and it becomes so Hollywood. And when it consumed my whole body to not be able to voice my feelings. And what happened is it physically consumed my whole body, that I wasn't feeling very good physically and wasn't sleeping well, wasn't eating well. And I finally had to talk to this person about it. And the whole conversation was not as bad as it was in my Hollywood head. And so now I use that experience in my life going forward and be like, you know what? That wasn't nearly as bad as you thought, Tanya. You did it this time. You can do it again. So getting rid of all those like stories we tell ourselves because we don't know the effect or we don't know the result. We're not supposed to know the result. That comes later. The part that is important is being in the now, being in you now, and dealing with your shit now. Don't worry about what's going to happen a year from now or 6 months. Those are goals. But you can't let today's burdens, hello Terry, hello sister, don't let today's burdens keep you from advancing. Because like I said, we have those Hollywood stories, those Hollywood horrors in our head, horrors in our head, and they play no purpose to us in the being of today. And that is easily done by just shifting one little thought. When I first started practicing the power of positivity, it was just, I started it at work, because that's a good place to start it. It's just with work. And it was just, nope, I'm not going to let I'm not going to let what she said bother me. Or I'm not going to let, like there was a process at work that just, it was stupid to me. And like, it doesn't serve me. I can't change it. The world's not going to change it. And I don't have the ability to change it. And I'm not asked to change it. Nobody asked me. So I started at work, and it truly did, because I was on the verge of like quitting. And once I started doing that, it actually just put like, okay, what are you really going to focus on today? You got to go to work, you got to get it done, and you got to do a good job. And all the little chatter and all the critter clutter that goes around with it doesn't matter at that moment. So I started with that, just that shift 1 degree, and focus on the things that serve you, that make you happy, that bring you joy, that give you peace. Things that help you feel light and lifted is truly important. And what that means to me is, say I'm getting stressed I'll just use stress at work, and I'll be like, okay, does stressing at work really going to make a difference after I leave work and go home? No. So why even bother? Why even bring your stress? Why even, waste your energy on it? Because my energy is so precious. I want it for other things like connecting and my workouts and good nutrition and good relationships at home and better relationships with my friends. So I try not to get so worked up at work. I know that's hard, but just try. That's a good place to try the power of positivity. So get in the flow with the universe, and it gets easier to stay in your own lane. Now that means stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop worrying about why they're doing it. Stop worrying about what they think of, what they're going to think of you if you do something. It doesn't matter. We all have our purpose. We all have our spaces, and take time for yourself in your space, and be in you first. Don't worry about all that other shit. Don't worry about Facebook. Don't worry about social media. The stuff important is dealing with you first. And I'm going to read a little excerpt from my book, because I said I was. Okay. When we recognize our place in this very connected universe and the power we each hold in creating our own experience, trust in the universe. It's this trust that will allow creation of your dreams to follow at quick speed. So what that means to me is you can co-create your dreams. If there's something that you want, and going back to the scenario, oh, I don't have enough money, or, oh, I don't live in this place, or I live too far away. It will happen. Write it down and write down the things that will get you there. And chances are, if you start believe that it is a reality. So when we had to do these like life maps and stuff, the first thing they told us was, don't look at the life map and the goal that you had as a if. Picture as it already is there. Like you're already telling somebody about it as you are experiencing it. Okay, so for instance, I'll just use winning the lottery. I do not know what winning the lottery feels like, but I can only imagine what it would feel like. So how does that look to you? And then start writing it down like it's already here, like it's already happened. And that will bring the universe closer to you, and chances are things are going to start happening if you have that state of mind and that shift of mindset. Honestly, things started happening in my life, and it's like, okay, I had dreamt this, like 5 years ago, there was a certain thing that I wanted to do, and I wanted to get to a certain size, and I had tried everything. And I honestly believe that just letting go of that scenario, that story that I had, I got to work out every day, I can never have carbs, I got to eat, this amount of protein, and I got to weigh myself every day, and all this. And once I actually kind of let go of that mindset and be like, you know what, I'm going to find a more balanced way. I actually got to my goal size, and it seems like it's the easiest now. Today, it seems like it's the easiest way to do it. And I honestly didn't do a whole hell of a lot. I didn't follow a program. I just exercise less and I eat more balanced, And honestly, that was a goal of mine for years. And now I think I have let go so much junk and gunk and plaque in myself that my physical body is able to be like, okay, she can handle the weight loss now. She doesn't have all that cortisol from all the stuff that's been burning her. She's able to get to what she wants. So that's my opinion. Find self-worth is the key to law of attraction. That's huge. Self-worth. We go around in our physical bodies and we judge ourselves. We cut ourselves down constantly. We do not live in alignment with our potential. And you have to put that first. You have to put yourself first. And I know as moms and as women, it's hard because we always are putting our children first, or our jobs first, and our husbands first, and our family first, and our friends first. But think about what you're actually getting from doing that. Are you still happy? Are you still getting enough time in to do your own stuff? So that's what self-worth means to me. And I'm going to read an excerpt from the book now. You cannot control how people react to you, but you can control how you react. As we teach other people to do this, we empower them. This starts with your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Small changes equal big results. And that goes back to that shift 1 degree. Your thoughts, just thinking positively, just one positive thought a day if you don't take anything out of this rambling, just take that. When you get up in the morning or when you get to work and you're sitting down, you're like, okay, I got so much to do today. Just think one positive thought, whatever it may be, something that's positive, that's going to make you smile at that very moment. And set your day by that. It can be something as stupid as a picture of a puppy on Instagram. Something that's positive. If it brings that glow out and it brings that light from your gut and brings it out and you smile, that's a shift. That is 1 degree shift. Trust me, it works. It will set your day. All right. I have something else that I want to read from page 39. Any questions? Please ask questions. Okay. This is powerful. You are in charge of you and your life and how you live it. Your lessons are your own. Your responses are your own. Judgment does not have to be part of your experiences anymore. You can shed the need to compare, to judge, to blame, to place guilt. These are emotions that serve no one. This is really powerful to me. When I read this, I'm like, yep, that's a good one. But now when I'm reading it again, it really is hitting hardcore for me. Change is one area that affects everything. So when you start judging yourself then there's self-doubt. And then we lose that living in alignment with your potential. And so by changing, hi Ashley, thanks for watching again. What book are you reading from? Kelly, I'm reading, I think you missed it because you got on a little late. This is called Awaken. It's a little book. I can borrow it to you if you like. It's big reading. It's big reading for us with, eyesight, senior eyesight. There is, let's see, I think there's like 59 pages in here. Where was I? Change in one area affects anything. So that goes by with that one positive. So if you can change one, so think about it tonight before you go to bed or when you get up in the morning and you're putting your makeup on, you're doing your hair, you're in the shower. So here's your homework. So think about one of the things that you feel you are negative on a continuous basis. Whether, I know Christmas is coming up, so money might be something. Maybe not having enough vacation is one thing, or your job, or spending more time with your kids or your in-laws, or having enough time to make the dinner and stuff. So think about one thing that is a continuous negative thought in your life and just switch it. Switch it positive to like say, for instance, let's see, I got to get up so early on Christmas Day to make this big meal. So, and you're kind of stressing about it. So maybe just thinking, hey, if I get up maybe 15 minutes earlier, or I can have my coffee and I can have that extra more time for me. That is shifting, a physical shift, because you actually have to get up 15 minutes early. But the thought that you should shift is, I can get through the day. I will not stress. If something doesn't happen if something doesn't get done exactly the same time, if we don't eat right at 1 o'clock, or if so-and-so doesn't bring what they say they're going to bring. So just try to change your peace of mind right away, either before you go to bed, or right away in the morning, and just shift it to something positive where, I'm not going to get upset when so-and-so tells me that something is blah, I don't have enough salt in my potatoes, or, something that's going to trigger you, and just practice it. So that's the easy part, is thinking of something that you already know is going to kind of trigger you and kind of going to create a negative thought. So just practice shifting. And as you see the results of that day, you're going to go, okay, I did it. It worked. I'm probably going to do that on Monday morning. And then keep doing that. And then write it down how you felt that night. So that way you can go back to how many times you practiced it. And you're going to go, gosh darn it, I did this like 5 times this month and I had 5 good days. Doggone it, I'm going to start doing it every day. So I have 30 good days. Okay, where was I? Oh, this is a good one. New perspective is empowering. So I've been experiencing a lot of new perspectives on how I think. And it's happening pretty much on autopilot now. It's happening automatic. We will be in a conversation and either I myself will say something that I know I've said probably 100 times, but then I'll be like, oh, well, I don't know if I can use those words anymore because that means something totally different to me today. And that's been happening to me a lot. So perspective is everything. And I think for me, it was just basically like slowing down because I'm just like, I'm a go. I go. I think my mind goes probably, as fast as my heart does. And I actually just started to practice more of calming, just more sitting down, thinking about my thoughts. I've been journaling a lot more. I've been meditating a lot more. And so new perspective is empowering because that's an easy way to shift. And sometimes sometimes that will happen without you purposely trying to shift. It'll be just like, you'll hear it in a song. That's where it is. I was trying to think of something that's been happening to me. So I'm listening to songs and it'll be like a song come on the radio. Like for instance, okay, on my way home from Tulum, I recently went to Tulum in November and I'm sitting by myself on the plane and I'm just reflecting on going back home and everything that I experienced on my trip. And so I decided to put some music on. So the first song that popped up was Stevie Nicks' or Fleetwood Mac, Gypsy. I've heard that song a million times. I've sang every word out loud a million times. But as I'm listening to the song, the words made totally different. They resonated with me totally different. And I actually started bawling. And I'm like, I gotta write this down. I have to start writing this down. So I was digging for paper, for itineraries, any kind of scrap paper. And I ended up writing, I think 8 or 9 pages on the airplane on the way home. So a lot of things, like in songs for me, it's like, oh, that song those words just mean so much different to me now. So that is something that will shift as well. Moving on. So I have down here, focus on the you inward before you can focus on the you outward. What that means to me is when you start dealing with your inward shit, all your stuff that is a burden, because we cannot truly love others until we truly love ourselves. We can say that we love them and we can show them affection, but it's truly not like that deep spiritual, universal connection until we can actually love ourselves. And I think that goes a lot saying in relationships. This is why a lot of relationships start to diminish, or we just go in autopilot, especially in marriages, long time, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You have to really, truly love yourself before you can have that ability to love someone else. Because if you can't accept yourself and your flaws and deal with your shit, then how are you supposed to accept that person and their flaws and help them assist with their shit? So this is really something that Travis and I are working on right now, is our shit. So we can actually build our relationship to the potential that we both are searching for, that we both long for. Talk about dealing with your shit. Okay, I think I did that. Own your shit. Do not blame. This is another one that's hard. How we doing here, folks? Oh, we're over a half hour. I'll wrap it up soon. Own your own shit. Do not blame. We blame so much on, we blame all our problems, not all our problems, but we do blame. There's a lot of blaming. People blame us for their effects, for their bad things that happen in their life. But if you think backwards on, okay, so you got that flat tire and now you're blaming somebody because you maybe were going to do an errand. If I didn't have to do that errand, I went to got a flat tire. No, how long have you checked your tires? Have you checked the air? When's the last time you did all that? So, do your own backstory and find out who it actually is to blame. It might not be the tire. It might be, depending on where you bought it from. But do your own math. Do your own investigating and find out, stop blaming people, because that's wrong and that's negative. And it's not, 9 chances out of 10, it's not their fault. It's your fault. Something that you did or you said or how you reacted. That's another thing, how you react. We can choose how we want to react to something. We can choose how we're going to, we have a bald tire. We can choose if we're going to fix it, and then we can choose if we're not. So if your tire pops and now you're going to be late for work and you're like, oh, it was that tire. Yeah, it was that tire, but I chose to drive on it for 3 months when I knew that's not a good idea. I have a note to read 45. I promise I'll wrap this up really quick. I'm just rambling. There's so much to talk about. Ask me more questions. All right. When we truly realize that we are all connected and that everything in this world is vibrational and energetic in nature, we start to see the similarities. That's what I talked about when you had that, when you know somebody, like an acquaintance, but then you actually have that connection with them and that law of attraction kicks in and you're like, oh, I didn't know you. So we start to see the similarities. We see that we are more like our neighbor. In essence, through this energetic connection, must recognize that love and connection trumps all. Love for yourself. So then I said, because our energetic self is tied into the whole system or the whole universe, empowering yourself empowers other. And that's the law of attraction. If you start to practice these little things and you start to experience better things in your life and a better mood, that was for me, that was powerful. I started practicing power of positivity and I was in a better mood at work because that's where I started practicing it first. I was in a better mood at work. And then people around me were actually in better moods. And then people around them were in better moods. And so it just it's intoxicating and it works. Trust me, it works. Create habits that spark self-awareness. Create habits that spark, I crossed out trigger, that sparks self-awareness. That I think I talked a little bit about before. So if you have something, think about, spend a little time to check in on yourself. Travis and I are doing this. We're practicing this with each other. We check on each other and we check on ourselves. And first we check on ourselves and then we can say, hey, how are you feeling today? Anything came up that you want to talk about? And so it sets a conversation in motion, which was hard for both of us to do before some experiences. Talk about choosing. We did. I think I talked about that choosing when I talked about the flat tire. And okay, so getting into the end of this, I think this is why I left this for last. So choosing. We all have the ability to choose to live in alignment with our highest potential. And do you want it to suck for a year? Do you want your problem or your life that you're dealing with? Do you want that to suck for a year? Or do you want it to suck forever? Or however long it takes you to get through that, what you think is the most terrible, bad, icky day in your life or your situation. So if you think about it this way, so let's say, for instance, you lost your job. You lost your job. You either got laid off or you got fired or you had to quit and you lost your job for whatever reason. So, yeah, it sucks right now. But if you don't start dealing with that, hello, Grace. If you don't start dealing with that very day and you continue to oh, I lost my job, nobody likes me, and what did I do wrong? Okay, so move forward. Get a new job. Because do you want it to suck forever? Do you want to always be thinking of that day when you got fired? I can imagine how awful that would be. I've never gotten fired. But I have gotten written up a couple times. So I know how that day feels. But, everything happens for a reason. So think about it that way. So if you get fired, think about it that day and think about it that way. It's meant to be. There is another door that's going to open. And obviously I got fired for a reason. I got fired because there is a bigger opportunity. There's a bigger and better opportunity down the line. And that is my final thought for tonight. I have to read page 58 though, because it says so in my notes. All right. One last thing before I wrap it up tonight, if nobody's got any questions. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. In each experience, there is learning. As evolving happens, we become more aware. With the awareness comes the ability to make greater changes in our world. Take in the gift of life and feel it pulsate through your entire being. I love that. That resonated with me so much that I had to underline it and say it. Next week's topic. So I'm such a planner, but I didn't plan what next week's topic was. Let's see. So we did intuition. We did law of attraction and power of positivity. I want to say next week would be, and I might change it because I kind of think on this because I'm going what I am going through in my journey. So all the steps and all the things that I did in succession with my spiritual journey. And I want to say it was like awareness, or was it meditation? Maybe it's going to be meditation. I'm getting meditation. Ooh, that's a good one. We don't talk enough about that. Everybody, and if you do talk about it, it's like, do you really truly understand it? Have you ever done it? And let's talk about that. So let's do meditation. It's going to be meditation. Meditation next Wednesday at 8:00. Come with questions, because I have quite a lot of experience on this subject. If you have ever meditated, come with your testimony and we'll talk about how you did it, why you did it, what happened when you did it, what happened after you did it, and then I'll share with what happened when I meditated and when I meditate now. And then if you've never meditated, then come with some whys. Why don't you meditate? And what meditation means to you. All right, so that's your homework. So you're going to think about meditation for next week, but then you're going to focus on one negative thing that you do continuously in your life that you catch yourself doing. And if you can't think of one right off the top of your head, then just practice self-awareness. Because with self-awareness, you're gonna become self-aware. Oh, just baked your noodle, didn't I? Think about that next time you're doing your hair, or your makeup, or you're vacuuming, or you're doing your dishes, or you're, shaving your dog. Whatever you got to do. Think about one thing that you can shift. And I would post it on here. Okay? All right. Stay safe. Christmas is coming. Let's not stress. We got some snow and now we got some thunder. So, of course. All right. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Tune in every Wednesday at 8 o'clock for more rambling. Yes, more advice. Love you all. Peace, love, joy.